out and dragged this homeless man out of his car, stabbed him, and left. I had called 911. We had ran away. I had thought this whole time that I had potentially gotten kidnapped. I would like to preface this video by saying that I genuinely loved my job. In no way is it a representative of, you know, my boss there or any of my coworkers. So without further ado, let's get to the first story. So the setting starts when my coworker and I were scheduled to work in the morning. And this was during the summer, so thankfully 2 people opened together. And we got there at about 10 a.m. and my coworker, let's call her Lydia, she approaches me and says, "Hey, did you see the text from our boss?" And I look on my phone and my boss texted us both saying, "Hey, when you arrive at work, please call me and put me on speaker so that I can talk to the police for you. There was an incident last night. Don't be concerned. It's getting resolved, but there is police back where you have to open." And so I was a little shocked by that, but I wasn't very concerned because the town I live in was, you know, we have 12,000 people in total. It was a very small rural town.
Ooh, I want a cowboy.
So we call our boss, and as we're walking towards the back, there was a lot of caution tape, and there was one security policeman dude just standing guard. And he was very unassuming, so it wasn't very scary approaching him. Our boss just said, "Hey, you know, can you please let them in? They're just here to open the store." He told us, "Yes, but you need to make sure to like hug the wall so that you're not disturbing any evidence." And so again, this didn't ring any bells in my mind.
Hey, I'm not afraid anymore.
So anyway, my coworker Lydia and I go in the store and open. We start as normal, and later that day we find out that this homeless man was in his car, living in his car with his dog, and he was parked in that like back alleyway with his dog behind the laundromat. So basically it's like Baskin Robbins, there's a pizza store, there's one other store, and then there's a laundromat. But not all the stores like have back entrances, I don't think. So the laundromat was only like 3 doors down from us. And he was sitting in his car late last night with his dog, but someone from the laundromat came out and dragged this homeless man out of his car, stabbed him, and left. And he didn't stab and kill the homeless man right there. The homeless man like died eventually and bled out. And what I think is super tragic is that his dog was there to see all of it in the car. I was shocked, to say the least, hearing this, because like I said, my town is very small. Nothing extreme ever happened. And it was very scary knowing that he still wasn't caught. So the person that did it the morning of was still, you know, under investigation. I never looked into who he was or who they found him to be. I'm not sure if they found like a definite motive. I really didn't look into it after that because, you know, the police were still investigating. I just think it was like a really tragic thing that happened. The next story, which is the sex trafficking scare. My coworker and I were closing, and we closed at around 9, so it was about 9:45 when we were actually leaving. And we park in the back. Right outside there's just like a parking lot where all the dumpsters are, and it was a little sketchy, but there was never reason for us to complain about it to our boss because nothing had ever really happened. We just were a little weirded out because some people would loiter back there, and as you know, underage girls working alone, like that's definitely something to be mindful of. My car, which was a super sketchy like 2000 Previa, it looked like a murder van. Like it was very scary looking. That's besides the point, but anyway, my van was parked adjacent to her car, so they were really close to each other, which is ideal. That's what we want. And her and I were both walking, And I stop dead in my tracks and I look at my car, and on the door handle, I see just this single long sunflower.
Oh, look, a dandelion. Must be the last one this season.
It was like, Savannah, what's that?
Savannah just grabbed my hand, bolted with me, and she called 911. And we bolted probably half a mile. Like, adrenaline is a real drug, people. But we bolted about half a mile to the nearest grocery store because every other store around us had closed. You know, it was almost 10 and this store was gonna close at 10. And so we got there just right before it closed. And so if you're confused why we called 911, sex traffickers will put things on young women's cars to distract them and to get them to look at it while they're like hiding under your car, and they will either, you know, buckle your knee or like slice your shins or just grab you, or someone maybe from behind. But overall, they'll leave something on your car, whether it be the flower, whether it be a lot of the time it's zip ties, a lot of the time it's little notes or just a random blank piece of paper on your dashboard, so you have to look at it. So if you're in this situation and you see this and you know you don't have someone with you, you have to get in your car. The best thing to do is just get in your car as soon as possible, lock your doors and leave. Like, drive out as fast as you can, because I think from my understanding some people will hide under your car, but a lot of them, the majority, will just be waiting nearby for you to get there and wait. And so if you can just get in your car as fast as possible and drive away, that's ideal. Or like what we did, don't even approach your car, go to somewhere safe and call 911. The police drive us over back to our cars. At this time I had called my dad because I did not want to go back in my car alone and drive home. And the police looked at it and they, you know, didn't see anything. They weren't really like taking fingerprints or anything dramatic. They were just like looking in my car and looking under the flashlight. And this whole time I was thinking,
Yeah, the dude probably left by now. Like, he's not gonna stick around if he hears us calling 911.
but like as we were running over, I was even concerned if someone was following us there. I mean, it was a terrifying, like traumatic experience. Yeah, so my dad picks me up, we leave our cars there. Savannah's boyfriend and her dad like walk her or like follow her home. And the police collect a statement. They told us if we have any updates, let us know. During like the questioning, I suppose, they asked me, you know, had anyone come in who was a customer who seemed suspicious. I go home, this is probably midnight by now, and on my phone was a Snapchat. My friend Isabel, she had sent me a Snapchat. I open her Snapchat and it says, "Great seeing you today. I left a little something on your car. I hope you have a great night." I think, you know, perhaps she thought, and a lot of people in a third party situation, maybe you guys are thinking like, oh, when I found that out, that it was just my friend, you know, it was just my friend leaving a gift. It wasn't a sex trafficker leaving a flower to lure me, that I would feel instant relief. But that didn't happen, because for about like hour and a half, 2 hours, I had gone through that situation with the police. I had called 911. We had ran away. I had thought this whole time that I had potentially gotten kidnapped. And so all those feelings and all of that emotion doesn't go away just because you find out that it didn't actually happen. About a week later, I saw these posts circling on Snapchat and Instagram of girls from my community who were like reposting someone that said, hey, just to let you guys know, the police have been getting reports of a sex trafficker active in our city, who has been leaving like flowers and zip ties on girls' cars. And I just remember being shocked and thinking, was this actually genuinely happening, or was this just my story being blown up out of proportion? Because Savannah and I did contact the police once I found out that it was just my friend, and we let them know. We're like,
by the way, there was no sex trafficker. It was just my friend leaving a flower on my car.
So They knew, they were aware that that was, you know, a hoax. So the fact that this uniquely was said, and zip ties, there were no zip ties on my car, obviously. To this day, I don't know if that was just an extension of my story that was getting circulated. That was the end of my sex trafficking story. Please let me know if there's anything else that we young women should be aware of. Definitely have a lot more Baskin-Robbins stories. So if you would like, please let me know. Please comment. Please subscribe if you like these videos. I know that sounds so cliche, but you know, as a new YouTuber, I really just want to do what videos you guys would like to see. So stay safe. God bless. The little boy's eye was smashed in, and his lip was busted, and he was just screaming at her. He was like, "You have no reason to call the police on me. You should not be harassing me like this. I am just staying in my car. I'm not bothering anyone. You need to stop calling the police on me."